It was a bitterly fought 5-month-long wrongful death lawsuit brought by Michael Jackson's mother against the concert promoter she says was greedy, heartless, and ruthlessly drove her son Michael to die of a drug overdose. The promoter, on the other hand, says Jackson was a junkie who hired a doctor who would keep him medicated. As the 6-man, 6-woman jury considers the evidence, Craig scored an exclusive interview with Jackson's original Dr. Feelgood, who has his own opinions, this doctor does, about who's responsible for Michael's death. Here's Craig.
After 5 months of testimony, it's up to the jury to decide if lawyers for the Jackson estate proved that AEG Live's greed was responsible for Michael's death on June 25, 2009, when they hired an incompetent Dr. Feelgood, Conrad Murray, or whether the King of Pop killed himself with years of drug abuse.
Here you have a doctor who does not know what he's doing, who can't even do CPR, taking care of the most important person in the world. But there's a reason for that, obviously. I mean, it's quite obvious. They did not want him to survive.
A shocking allegation from a doctor who was himself accused of overprescribing drugs to Michael Jackson. He's cosmetic dermatologist Dr. Arnold Klein, who denied the allegations. Klein claims Jackson started using painkillers after numerous plastic surgeries performed to repair scalp injuries suffered in a 1984 fire while filming a Pepsi commercial, and later during multiple facelifts designed to make Michael look younger and whiter. Klein's own medical records show he used powerful opiates while performing procedures on Jackson. But the Los Angeles County coroner said they played no role in Jackson's death. The drug that killed the King of Pop was a sedative called propofol.
Michael had an issue with using propofol at night, and that's how he slept at night. And he's done it many times on tour. But you can't take a doctor who doesn't know what they're doing and expect him to administer propofol. So, I mean, he had a problem that he had with propofol. There's no question in my mind he had it. But, I mean, also, you don't hire an incompetent doctor.
Klein claims Jackson tried to dump the incompetent Dr. Conrad Murray, now serving time for involuntary manslaughter in the singer's death. But at the heart of the gigantic wrongful death lawsuit just ending in Los Angeles is whether Dr. Murray was working for Michael or for the concert promoter AEG, which Jackson's family has sued for as much as $1 billion.
I was in Paris all of May, the month before he died, okay? And he had called my office looking for an anesthesiologist, which I later found out when I returned. So obviously he was looking for a doctor other than Murray.
Now, you told me that Conrad Murray was introduced to Michael by his father, Joe Jackson.
Absolutely.
How you feeling, Joe?
But here you have the Jackson family suing AEG, this concert tour promoter, for hiring Conrad Murray, but he was introduced by a Jackson family member.
He was not set up to take care of Michael on an ongoing basis. He couldn't take care of him in England. He wasn't licensed in England. So he couldn't do it anyway. So, I mean, it doesn't make any sense. And if you're going to hire a physician, you want a very competent physician. And here's the strange thing. He owed huge amounts of debt, Conrad Murray. You're aware of that, correct? It's ridiculous. It was a setup.
So Klein thinks Dr. Murray was the fall guy. He points to this ironclad contract Jackson signed, which holds the star responsible for financial losses if he failed to perform the 50 shows he committed to. Failing to meet his commitment would have cost the artist millions of dollars. Tell me about what you know on a personal basis about Michael's psychological state during that time.
He was not the same person anymore. He was totally depressed. He didn't have any energy, and he was just so weirded out. And I just think he was over-medicated at that point.
Jackson family lawyers never disputed the singer's dependence on pain medication and allowed that Jackson may be 20% responsible for his own death. But that means the promoter AEG Live was 80% responsible, including one executive who was Jackson's tour manager. The family alleges that it was AEG who hired Murray for an astounding $150,000 a month, a salary that created a conflict for the debt-ridden doctor.
Here's the thing. Michael was addicted to propofol, okay, because he couldn't sleep with him. The person who got him addicted to propofol, you want something that badly, you're going to find someone willing to give it to you. And here the situation was they found someone totally incompetent. Conrad Murray did not know what he was doing. Murray was incompetent. You don't hire an incompetent doctor for the most famous person in the world. And don't blame it on Michael's addiction, because if you try to blame it on Michael's addiction, it doesn't work.
Because it was not a criminal trial, the civil court does not need to be unanimous. Just a 9-3 majority is required for a ruling either on behalf of the Jackson family or the concert promoter AEG. And even if the jury says the promoter was only partially responsible, at stake is hundreds of millions of dollars.